I think it's decent lighting here, and it shows this butterfly that's been ripped in half, symbolizing whatever that symbolizes. Um, I'm very shiny because I'm sunburned. So I went to the pool today, and I realized that my energy is different because everywhere I go now, people just are talking to me, and that usually doesn't happen. When I went to Hawaii, nobody talked to me that whole time. Nobody that wasn't paid to, at least. And I guess my vibe is different. I'm noticing my vibe is different. And also, I can hold conversations better. It doesn't feel forced, and it doesn't feel like my head's in the clouds, like I'm present. So, like, I made friends at the pool today. Um, and I just got back from hanging out with them. It was 4 Persian girls, and they invited me to dinner with them. And, like, now I have new friends. Um, things are just flowing. Like, I realized that I was stuck. Now, when I was watching this video, I didn't think I was stuck, but I did notice that I reverted something that you know, that I'm aware of or conscious of, like things that came up in previous relationships. So, like, for instance, like I set boundaries so that I don't get into a situation that makes me feel unsafe or uncomfortable. I relapsed not too long ago. And I thought it was weird. It's like I'm aware of these things, my issues, and I suppose, like, even though you can gain consciousness, it's a constant thing. It's not like you get enlightenment and then it's done. You have to continuously work at it. And um, it was indicative that I was doing something wrong, obviously, because I shouldn't be taking steps back at this point. Like the fact that I've like these girls were like they brought mushrooms and weed and stuff, and obviously like and there's alcohol everywhere. People offer me everything, and just like when I was younger, when people offer me things, like no, thank you, I don't do it, and I had fun without it. I'm like smiley and happy and friendly and talkative without it. Like I know how to do it now. Um, there's no point. It's redundant. Like it's just in here. You can decide to feel whatever you want to feel. You don't need anything. Okay, so I was noticing that my energy is obviously different. People are treating me different. Like even at home, when I went to the gym, I could tell. Um, I don't know if I don't know what it is, but for some reason, I'm getting more attention from people, and it's something I'm always aware of my surroundings. Um, so I know, I suppose, when people are paying attention to me, and it wasn't physically any different. I dress the same, plain stuff without logos, you know. Um, and yeah, things just seem to be flowing. So, of course, in my off time, I just listen to YouTube videos about spirituality and stuff. And there's this page. It was called Eye of Wisdom, which I'm kind of, why is it I? But it's talking about Hermetic principles, which I have talked about in the Kybalion. It's required reading for anyone who wants to learn how the world works. And I always heard this concept as above, so below. And I always thought that it was like a astrology thing. There's an astrology map here. Cool. So all ancient people were staring at the stars and building monuments as above, so below. I thought it was like a literal thing. And that's why they're watching the stars is like Mercury's in Gatorade or whatever, and so your girlfriend's a bitch or whatever. Um, my understanding after watching this video was like, wait a minute, as above, so below, as within, so without. And it has so many meanings. And now what I realized that the meaning was, my buddy Steve has been going through this breakup. So I've been going through his breakup. And like he really depends on me for advice. And the thing is, I give perfect advice. Because when it's not me, I can see clearly. You can always see other people's problems. You always give better advice than you give yourself. So Steve, I realized as within, so without. I'm like, I'm Steve. Not Steve is the past version of me going through what I used to go through, but I'm going through the same thing Steve is going through. So our relationships are mirrors, right? I always thought that meant like the person you're dating, but your relationships, people you have relationships with, your family, etc., is all mirrored. As within, so without. So it's how you feel inside. You're seeing it in the world. That's what that means. I just discovered this. So I'm like very clearly like telling him what to do with his. He texted me the other day. He's like, God is good. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What is it now? What did you do? She left me a note, my handwritten note in my mailbox. Like, burn it. Fuck. Burn it. What should I do? Like, what do you mean, what should I do? Kill her and take her in the woods. And of course, obviously that's not an option. But of course, uh, he's going to do it. He's going to get back together with her. And he keeps asking me for advice, but I know he's not going to take it. I know that he has to see it for himself. Just like anytime I've ever tried to help anyone understand things, I try to connect the dots for them and be like, see this, and then this, now this, and then this. People have to, just like I did, people have to learn it on their own. People have to come to the light on their own, whatever that means. So I realized in my not relationship, I was doing the same thing Steve was. So he's saying he wanted to meet up with her in person to see. And I was like, to see what? To see if she can admit she did anything wrong or can change or is willing to change and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, she said it in the letter. In the letter, she said that I know how I deserve to be treated and basically blamed him still because she's a narcissist. In my opinion, in my non-professional, non-qualified, definitely a qualified and definitely professional opinion, she's a narcissist. She displays all the classic, I could write a book on it. It's all I've ever dated, and this idiot is me. So, empaths, people who feel, are always victims to narcissists. Until you become conscious, you're always going to be a victim. And once I woke up to this fact and saw all the narcissists I was surrounded by, then I had my whip out and I wanted to call out every narcissist and protect every weak person. So I was telling people who they should be with and who they shouldn't, and who they can trust and who they shouldn't. And of course, just like I would have, I got told in non-specific terms to F off. You know, what did I expect, really? I've calmed down a lot, but there's a natural, overcorrection, cause and effect. correlation, correspondence. There's these rules, and when you become an alchemist, you can stop this ping pong of you're aware of why people act. If you look at every piece of trauma from person to person, it's all the result of cause and effect of something. So I was talking to these girls about like their traumas. We're just like having regular conversation, nothing specific. And then one of them was talking about how her kids in 20 years are going to say, Mom, you fucked me up in this way. And she's going to say, I did the best that I could, just like her mom told her, which of course is true. You can't hold things against people. People can only meet you as far as they've met themselves, and people are always doing the best they can with what they know. So what's the point of getting mad? You're just spinning your wheels. So this is like a very matter-of-fact thing. We're all doing our best. Of course, I want people to forgive me for the nasty things I've done. So like when I call my friend's ex a narcissist, it is a label to say this is what to expect. But I'm not condemning her as to she can never get better, because I don't know. Modern psychology says she cannot, FYI. And not she specifically, but narcissists, if she is one. So he's thinking like, I can talk to her and just fix her. I was like, she has to fix herself. You can't. Who are you? If psychologists can't do it, what are you doing? You're just going to get caught in the fray. It's like going into a bar fight and you don't know how to fight. It's like you're not equipped to do this. You don't have a weapon. You're unconscious as well. Your feelings are leading you, not your mind, not your conscious thought. And your feelings always lead you to a lesson rather than where you're supposed to be for your well-being. Until you have a picture of what you want to manifest and manifest it, you will only be creating lessons. This is how your subconscious mind works, according to Carl Jung and me. So as I'm like talking, I've been nonstop. This kid it's like, I feel like a parent. It's like I'm constantly having to talk him off a cliff. And I keep throwing my hands up like, dude, do what you want, because that you're going to have to do it. You've already done it, in fact. Like whatever you're going to do, you've already done. I'm done talking. My view is going to be the same. My opinion is going to be the same. My answer is going to be the same. And then wait and see if I'm right. But this is what's going to happen. And of course, like, I'm looking at him and it's so clear. And then the last situation I was in, now I was like, I guess, waiting patiently for the minimum amount of effort and being very understanding of someone's hesitancy, because I'm a serious guy and I've had weird life experiences and I'm not a normal person. The reason I don't do things has a deeper understanding and gnosis to it attached. So it's not like I'm not trying to have fun. It's I cannot drink because it fucks me up. It is not conducive to where I'm going and who I want to be and how my body works and how anybody's body works. Nobody should be drinking. It's poison. I was sitting on this trolley today and I was listening to like this couple. They're probably, I was going to say older, but maybe they're my age. But just like repeating words. Raccoon, oh, raccoon. Like, why are you just repeating words? It's like you actually become stupid. Of course, you're more fun when you're stupid. But you can learn how to be fun without like killing brain cells. or like severing your connection to the universe, which is what drinking does. Messes with your vibration. Matter of fact, poison your body to have fun. Borrow time from tomorrow. It's like, okay, but go down the spiritual path and then think this is the temple of God, and then what are you doing to the temple of God? So what are you doing to God when you're disrespecting your body? When you have sex with multiple people, when you do drugs or inject things or whatever, like you're disrespecting the temple of God. If this, then this. That's a serious thing to do, right? Rude, even. Think about it. Now, I was telling Steve so clearly what's going on with him and what he's doing wrong, and that his expectation was like, so you break up for a month, and because she misses you and didn't do any work in between, it's fixed and you should try again. And he's like, well, I learned so much, like I learned a ton from you. I'm like, you haven't learned anything because you're still led by your emotions. And as he's talking, I'm like, fuck, this kid is exactly me. Like there's no talking him out of it. And then here I was thinking like I'm like miles above him. And then I was like, I just did the same stuff that he's doing. Maybe it's different this week than last week. Maybe it's exactly the same. What are you waiting for? People don't change because they miss you. People might change eventually if they experience like a traumatic loss, I would say. But just missing someone doesn't, you know what I mean? Like you have to be willing to dramatically change your life. For a narcissist, for instance, to seek therapy, that's a dramatic thing. That would be like, okay, at least you're trying. Maybe there's a reason to revisit. Now on the subject of like meeting people, so these girls are like trying to hook me up with everyone they've ever met. Like immediately were impressed with my integrity and my spiritual mumbo jumbo. Like, oh, my friend's spiritual. She's not married because she's waiting for someone spiritual. I was like, okay, like I'll listen. They immediately put me in group chats, and I don't think it works that way. I don't think matchmaking is like the God putting me together with someone. Like I do think I will be friends with these people now, and maybe meet people organically through that. But I don't think it's like my friend single, you're singleless, blah blah blah, because this just happened last week, and the girl that introduced me to her spiritual friend, the book writing girl, she's like, "Oh, did you bring her with you to Mexico?" I was like, we haven't even met in person. What do you mean bring her to Mexico? And then as I was talking to the book writing girl, she's like, "Oh, I would have come with you because we're both being guided." I'm like, you would have just, someone that said they love me wouldn't come with me. You know? It's like, I was asking for the bare minimum. And this girl's like, yeah, I'd get on a plane with you right now. It's like, just because you're guided? Sick, me too. That's how I live. I trust the guides, you know? Even if it leads me into the lion's den, I would follow it because there's a lesson there. So here I was thinking I'm like miles above Steve, and I was doing a version of what he's doing. Now I'm not going to say the person that I was with is a narcissist. I'm not going to speak badly about the person. But what I was doing is what he was doing, in the sense that he sees his ex's potential, and I saw my person's potential. And in both cases, the girl is stuck. I would say they think they're stuck as well. They're either stuck in a loop or they're stuck in a feeling that's persistent. So the external world will reflect that feeling, uncertainty, of doubt, of being unsafe, of being abandoned, whatever the thing is. So they look at me or Steve as, you are creating this. You are the instability. And then what happens is, because you project that, you will create it. So I, in my case, regressed. I was having like flashback PTSD reactionary actions, feelings, emotions, because I unconsciously slipped back down. As I come across someone who appears to be stuck in a hole, I'm like, hey, do you need help to get out? And sometimes they say yes. And I'm like, okay, let's get you out. And then like, no, show me how. It's like, okay, I'll come into the hole, still celibate, and then I will crawl out with you. We'll take a step at a time. Just do what I do. And then step, and then they go back down and they say, no, you're wrong. Like, okay, well, we're not out yet. Like, can you just keep following this path for a little bit and just see what is the problem with trying? But they're so used to their cycle, the pain, whatever just like I was. I don't know. It took me a very long time, a very, very long time. And I wasted so much of my life doing exactly what I'm mad at Steve for. The whole time until now. And when someone is stuck, you get stuck with them. So I take a step forward and then, like, no, I'm not coming anymore. And then I start to regress. You go back down into this hole. So I was thinking of this as I'm watching this, as above, so below, as within, so without. I'm like, Steve is me. His relationship is mirroring, like he has the same lesson. I'm like, I'm still here. Just like him. So dumb. Men are so stupid. We are so stupid. And so, what do you call that? Hopeless romantic. What do you call being a fucking idiot? Oh yeah, Matt and Steve. So yeah, I mean, I was doing the same thing. Like, just try a little bit. I'll wait here for you. I'll get stuck here, right here with you, as long as you want to stay in this gray area, till you see that I'm serious about you or whatever. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, hey, I'm going this way. Are you coming? No, fuck you. This girl was ready to hop on a plane right now. What am I doing? More than celibate, I should swear off women, because Nikola Tesla was right. There is no greater danger to a man's energy than a woman. There's no greater thief to a man's potential than a woman. Because I all of a sudden get unstuck and I'm like, the most popular person is the hotel. That's weird. You know? I made a friend from Austin who we're like discussing where to retire to. His name is Ross. And then I open the door, and there's some guy sitting on the floor. We start talking. He's from Minnesota. Really polite lad who hooked up with a girl, and she said, "Can you go outside while I change?" And then he sat on the floor, Indian style, like a good boy. it's just weird. It's weird for me to have like interactions with this many people and for people to like want to hear what I have to say, and you know what I mean? It's not par for the course for me. It's different. But like, oh, this is when your energy is unblocked. This is just how it is. Wu Wei, path of least resistance. So when life is giving you resistance, you drop that shit and you move downstream. And in this weird ideological fake world I build in my head, I can save everybody. I'm Morpheus. I come back into the Matrix and I save people, and they come with me to the promised land and find purpose in life and heal their traumas, love people properly, love and respect themselves properly. Why is that so hard? You'd think like we are stupid animals. We cause so many problems with our thoughts rather than solutions. I was thinking more about the caterpillar story. So, the caterpillar, there's two caterpillars. Um, I think I'm make them both go through conventional education. That way, there's not this dichotomy or whatever. So, like, they have the same origins, but one becomes conscious, right? So, like, the idea is that fear keeps the entire population of these caterpillars from going through their metamorphosis. And this one caterpillar that decides to go into it, just like a Jungian thing, go into the dark night of the soul, answer the call to action, your hero's journey, is ostracized and called crazy by the community of lost, afraid caterpillars. They are eating artificial processed food. They are stuck to the news. They are stuck on social media. They hate each other. They have gender ideology problems. What is gender ideology? There's no ideology. Gender is a fact. Cancel me. Try. All of my customers will be like, yeah, that's true. Do you know why? Successful people don't have stupid ideas running around their heads. People with Lamborghinis and Ferraris aren't being like, hey, call me this. They're like, hey, we have real things to think about. That's why we're successful, not these caterpillars. Even this one looks like his wings are messed up. This one was torn apart. It's like a cat got to it. There's a whole one down there in that corner. It's not pretty. The artist is like creative, sure, but gross. Um, I don't like it. Caterpillars. So this other butterfly listens to its instinct, like leaves the church to think on his own, because these other caterpillars think they already are the enlightened individuals. So every religious, like dogmatic religious person who's following like cult-like ceremonies, dress, whatever, is still a caterpillar because they're not free to fly. And this other asshole is me and figures out how to fly. And I guess I have to fly pretty high for people to start paying attention or think that the things that I say are profound. I was thinking of, I was like, oh, I have a lot of free time. My business has matured. I'm going to study philosophy to get a PhD in philosophy. I was seriously considering it. And then I thought, there's no more anti-philosophical thing that you can do than get a degree in philosophy. I have a degree in studying other people's thoughts. You should have your own. The great philosophers had their own. The only thing that qualifies you is that you think. And I'm a life path 7. That's all I do. So I decided against it. But because I don't have a degree in it, people aren't going to respect the things that I have to say. I have to talk to myself like this, like Carl Jung told me to do it, until I can figure out a way to put these things down in a digestible manner. And maybe it's too late for you as an adult to change how you think. Maybe you're stuck in your ways. Maybe the things I say don't make sense. Maybe you're happy with good enough, which is your prerogative. I am not. I deserve the best life. I keep thinking about, you name it. You name the scientific theory. I think about how if everything that happens in the world is an event that forks timelines. So for instance, the big one recently was that disease. So a lot of people during that time were saying, oh, they're going to control us. They're going to put us in a box. They're going to feed us bugs. You'll own nothing and be happy. For some reason, wealthy and powerful man that the world didn't elect, but who apparently elects our world leaders, said, we will own nothing and be happy. And people are up in arms and they're like, F that. I'd rather die, right? Come take my guns, this, that, the other thing. And then there's the other group of people who are like, who? He said what? Like they're not even aware the guy is a person. And is the head of an international, it's like a Bond villain, this guy. WEF. Google it. So you have these two conflicting populations. One that is informed and terrified, and another that's terrified just from the other things that they're saying, and they're not even informed. The goal is to terrify you. Now guess what? This is a statement of fact. You already own nothing, and you are already eating bugs. A lot of the food coloring, go inside the grocery store, you see all these everything has a crazy wrapper. You'll see on the ingredients list all these artificial colors and flavors. That's the bugs. It's bugs. You're eating bugs. The only time you're not eating bugs is when you're eating the GMO shit where they put a bunch of chemicals in it that are killing you in another way. And you don't own anything. Did you buy your house? Guess what? You still owe property tax. Did you buy your car? You still have car insurance. You still have registration. You already own nothing. The idea of telling you that you think the evil villain tells you his plan so you can thwart it is so that you fight to keep the current system of slavery. And of course, someone who's stuck in their day-to-day job and worried about money and what comes tomorrow, they're not even thinking about this. You have to get beyond a certain point to get to this type of thought process. I'm not gifted with anything. I just have the ability and free time and lack of stress to be able to think clearly. Fear-based mind control. When you're fear-based thinking, you are controlled. And when you're unconscious, you are controlled. When you're scrolling through your phone, through an app, you are receiving energy through your eyes, radiation. These people studied the human anatomy and psychology and wrote the books on it. And we just absorb all their music, their food, you know what I mean? And then when I tell people, like, you want to be happy, you have to delete this shit. You have to watch what you eat. Then you'll be able to see, as clearly as I do, that it's just to scare you. I went down the rabbit hole after the disease, and then I realized the people in the news, the people who maybe created it, were the ones coming out with the conspiracies. Because whether you're scared of the disease or scared of the cure, you're still scared. So you're going to do stupid things with your money. But when you're not scared, you can think clearly. Like during the disease, I was like, this is the best time of my life. There's no traffic. I could speed, even though there was no cops. I could speed on the freeway, get to LA in 40 minutes. That's never happened in my entire life. I was making tons of money, and then people weren't out, so I get to go out and enjoy the things that I like to do, and nobody's there. Give me more disease. It's been great. And then you have, like, it was so funny, the devoutly religious people that were like, you had two factions of that also, the people who think that they're going to die at any moment, which is like, do you believe in God or not? If God decides to take you, you should go. And then the people are like, oh, it's like a satanic thing. This is a satanic thing. It's the mark of the beast and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay. Why are you afraid, though? He who suffers before he has to suffers more than he has to. So during that time, I was like, I'll accept death whenever it comes. I will die on my own terms. I'd rather live on my feet than die on my knees. Had a great time. Until I didn't. I had a great time. And it is what led me to this consciousness. It's what led me to see that, oh, this has been happening my whole life. After September 11th, after like Oklahoma City bombing, there's always, after the school shootings, there's always something to be afraid of. And then there's wars. There's always something. We're about to die. We're about to be extinct. And then people think of self-preservation. So you become selfish. So you think about yourself. If you're lucky, you also think about your family. But that's it. So you never think about your neighbors. It's us versus them. And this country wasn't always like that. When my parents moved here, you didn't need a key to your house or your car. Every door was unlocked in the whole country. The whole thing, up and down. This guy from Austin that I was talking to at the pool was saying the president of El Salvador imprisoned 80,000 people. This is the number one murder capital of the world. And people said, hey, you for sure have some innocent people in there. What are you doing? And he said, hey, we tried the US model. We tried this model, that model. It didn't work. Now we are the safest country. Every single police station in the world has arrested innocent people, but at least we have solved the problem. We're doing something right. San Francisco cleans up the homeless problem immediately for a presidential visit. These problems are solvable. They're here. So you hate each other. So you're distracted. So that you're low vibration. And it's working. Because everybody I know is stuck. Paralyzed. Or have analysis paralysis, which is a different version of the same thing. No movement in any direction. So, weirdly, I let go. And the universe just immediately rewarded me. One, gave me the opportunity to come here. Gave me the opportunity to reset, get some sun, see that my energy is different. Because I'm in a routine at home. I don't want to have a new hobby. And I feel weird if I'm sitting in my house reading. I feel like there's so much that I have to do that I can't sit and read. I got this. There's 4 books in this. It's as thick as the Bible. And I thought, I'm going to come here and read this. Came here to talk to you. I wish I could snap my fingers and bring people with me. Even if it was just to show them a glimpse, you know? I'm tired of waiting for people to catch up. Now I'm being introduced to women who are on the path. And they might not be on the specific path I'm on, but at least I'm sharing knowledge. Like this girl that publishes books, I wouldn't, if I was sitting at home waiting for someone unconscious to become conscious, I would miss this possible opportunity to change the world. And that's why it's important to be with a conscious partner who builds you up, who you don't have to babysit, who you don't have to put out their fires, their emotional fires that they're creating. I was thinking about this, that someone wasn't doing well with work, and this contract didn't go well, and they were talking about suing to get their money. Now I'll be vague. The contract was signed by someone who probably felt like they were above my friend, and they were attracted to my friend and hit on her or talked about her in not respectful ways behind her back, and then reneged on the signed contract. And then this is this is her livelihood. So this guy's affecting her livelihood. And she knows about my story where I went through something similar. And I asked her at the time when I was going through it what I should do. I performed a job and someone stiffed me on the bill and I was going to sue him. And she's going through the exact same thing right now and hasn't once thought of how I handled it. Even though I consulted, even though she saw me go through it and saw the resolution, unconscious. So she's saying, oh, we have a signed contract. I'm going to go after him. That's my money, blah, blah, blah. You live in a spiritual world. This is a spiritual test. You're going through it. The exact test I had. And I was stuck and nothing was going my way. So I felt like I had to go to war for my money. If you become an asshole for money, you are just an asshole. And this universe, money's not part of it. Money doesn't exist, but energy does. So this guy being an asshole to her or stealing, which is what he did, he's committing a spiritual crime. And the universe keeps score, and the universe will take care of that. But now she, in return, is stewing mad all day, every day, wanting this guy to die, cursing his name. Now she is creating bad energy, and guess what? Nothing else is working out for her. Surprise. She's upset in every other aspect. Surprise. She gave power to this man because she doesn't realize that this is a spiritual world and this is a spiritual lesson, and that if she let it go, she will get other contracts, other things will go well, and eventually this will come back around, just like it did for me. Instead of suing the guy, I let it go. I sent him lunch even. I sent him and his entire crew lunch. He didn't respond, he didn't say thank you, but a few months later, hey, I don't want to talk about the past, I need these 3 cars done. Okay, I'll take your money. That's how it works. It's not just me. It's how the universe works. So, I learned that lesson in real time with that person in my life. It's so strange that I don't even think I saw the parallel until afterwards. It's like I became unconscious too. And when I let go, everything falls back into place. You really have to do nothing. That's why it's called Wu Wei. It's not something you achieve, it's something you let go of. You just let go. You let go and the universe propels you forward. You don't have to be paddling because you're paddling in the wrong direction. Your efforts are counterproductive. If you are hating someone, if you are, all day you have that in your head. I was sitting in this tub outside, and I was sitting chest deep in the water. And if you want to be privy to what I do when I'm alone, I was saying, thank you, God. I was just repeating that. And I saw ripples in the water. And I was like, is that my breath? And I realized it was my heartbeat would send a ripple. And then I'm thinking like, oh, this is happening like invisibly to the air and stuff around me. I am creating a magnetic field, like they say. I can see it. You know what I mean? It is affecting the universe around me. And then I thought about how my heart rate was slowing as I was thinking, thank you, God, and I was breathing, and I was thinking about like, I had a great day, and I'm having like these realizations and made new friends, and I'm like, thank you, God, for getting me unstuck. Thank you, God, for all the blessings I have. Thank you, God, for it. Just gives you, it's the next vibration up from, if it's a life hack, if you are thinking negatively, that's the next vibration up, is thankfulness. It'll get you back up. Life hack, try it. So as I was watching my heartbeat affect the world around me as I was perfectly still. I was thinking how when you're stressed, your heartbeat raises. When you're sad, your heartbeat changes. This affects this. There's a direct link, and this is your energy field. And your thoughts can absolutely affect the energy you are giving off. That's how animals sense it. You ever wonder how they know when you're sad or gay? That was a joke, I'm sorry. Um, you know, like I said, there's a thing here. It's like it says in every ancient book, in every philosophy, in all times. It's like, oh, so simple. So if there's something in your life creating bad thoughts, it's creating bad energy, and this universe will match your energy. Like a petty girlfriend, it will match your energy. That's why to manifest, Neville Goddard and other experts say, in order to manifest, you have to feel like you already have it. So when these girls are showing me like pictures of their friends and saying she'd be perfect for you and she's spiritual, or whatever, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't think so. Instead of thinking, oh, maybe, because I don't know, I should be manifesting it instead of manifesting stuck energy. So I don't know if animals can tell if you're gay. I said it to be funny. It would be cool if they could, just for science. Um, I know they won't see this, but it was really like serendipitous, synchronistic that I I had made dinner plans. You have to make reservations at this hotel for dinner. So I did Friday yesterday and I did Sunday tomorrow. And then I left tonight open because I was like, well, let's just see what happens. I thought I was going to go into town or something. And I made these friends: Nusha, Neda, Ava, and Maria. If you ever see this for some reason, it was great meeting you guys. You made my night. Um, it was just easy. I wish it was that easy all the time. I'll make it that easy all the time. But great people. Uh, there's one more thing I wanted to think about, and I thought about this a couple days ago. I forgot to mention it. My friend was talking to me about watching The Bachelor with his dad, one of these dating shows. Gives the rose and chooses between. At the end, the finale, there was two women, and one of them was deaf, and the guy chose the not deaf one. And the dad was saying, "Oh, he messed up. He should have chose the deaf one." Something like this. And she handled the rejection really well. And the son was telling the dad, like, yeah, she's been through real problems. This other girl, nothing's ever happened to her. So anything that comes up, the relationship will be fragile. Whereas everybody has trauma. This other girl, this deaf girl, has overcome adversity. Not just been through it, but gotten through it. And someone who has gotten through it is very hard to throw off balance. And that is absolutely necessary for whoever my life partner is. It is impossible. Like that analogy I made of the connectors fitting, but there's like less active pathways. Like you can get basic information. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite position? You can find that anywhere. It's not special. It's not something that will last. Holding water in your fists, it won't last. And when I accept that, life just falls into place. So maybe, I don't know, somehow these new like social avenues that have opened up, or these people that are interested in meeting me and talking to me and sharing stories and teaching me things. One of them was when I met these 4 girls, one of them immediately put me in a group chat with her friend. And the friend does breath work, like is like certified teaching breath work. Now, I have like told people who are stuck, I'm like, look, what I did was I had a massive dose of mushrooms. Like, I believe you can do it without it, but I don't know. Like, I wasn't looking for answers. I was numbing myself. I stumbled backwards into it. So I'm like, that's always an option, but just like me, I mean, prior to getting a terminal diagnosis, that like I didn't even tell my family. Like I was so certain that I was going to die, and I just didn't want them to worry about me. So it was just like I just decided to live my life differently, and I did things I would have never done. And although it got me close to hell, it also got me into heaven. You have to go through hell first. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what heaven is. It's the principle of correspondence. There is no cold without hot. You need both to understand what one is and what the other is. So you don't go too far in either direction. So this girl was talking about breath work. So it's a certain type of breathing that essentially your body will release trauma. And she talked about, I asked her a few times, I did the Wim Hof breathing and my body started vibrating. Have you ever experienced that? And she's like, yes, I have. It's called this, started with a T, and I miss it. It happened a lot when I was like, when you're first going through releasing trauma. So your body releasing trauma is what the trembling is. I was like, wow, that's like, you realize how rare it is for someone to teach me something? I'm the only person looking into stuff that I know. Granted, I don't know a lot of people. So she taught me something. And then she said, like, she sent me like an excerpt, and it talked about how when people do this breath work, their hands curl up because it's like some type of trauma response. So she said she stopped doing it because she worked through her trauma. So she's like, I've heard of this. But in all honesty, some very strange people came into my life trying to get me to do DMT. And when I said no, they said, how about breath work? And I said, how about go fuck yourself, leave me alone. Why are you so interested in my healing? Do you want to talk about video games? Go fuck yourself. New friend. So my suggestion, whether you go do, someone downstairs, the guy trying to sell me the timeshare was trying to sell me on ayahuasca. It's like, yes, I've met people like you before. No, thank you. It's not for me. I understand. My suggestion, whichever route you take, a holistic path where you can stay away from substances is breath work. If for some reason it's ayahuasca for you, or mushrooms, or LSD, or whatever you're doing, bath salts, I don't know. My caution to you would be, don't do it with people, even people you trust, because you don't know what's with them, what energy they're carrying, and who you'll be after. As far as I know, nothing weird has happened to me. But I've heard stories, and I believe that there's energy. So be careful. If you decide to cross that path, be careful, because even if it's your family member, you don't know what's on the other side of that. And I think the same thing, like the things I've read about as far as your vibration and your psychic barrier and things that are like in this book, if you do substances, if you do breath work, you're very vulnerable. And entities, people, who knows what, can affect you, can take over you, can influence you, I don't know. I don't know. As far as I know, I haven't experienced that. But reading it is enough for me to be like, okay, perhaps the people that were trying to push me into things were trying to do that. That is my gut feeling. And that's why I never did it. I don't take medicine when I'm not sick. I'm not working through anything right now. I can figure things out. My brain has already changed. I know how to change my perspective or analyze myself. But doing it the first time, mushrooms, I had a ego death. I wasn't so attached to my trauma and my identity. And I had for the first time, a break from the constant negative thoughts and emotions. I had a release of tension, of trauma, of emotions, physical release. And it was like I was holding my breath my entire life and took my first breath of fresh air. That's what it felt like. And I want everyone to feel that. Especially people who are stuck, especially people who are like how I used to be. Like, please listen. Please try this. So, if anyone's stuck, maybe breath work, maybe, try something. But if what you're doing isn't working, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So maybe my ideas are strange, but at least I tried something. What have you been doing? I got so desperate that I would have tried anything to not feel how I was feeling anymore. When I realized I was in a cycle and I was repeating Groundhog's Day. I was dating the same woman in a different body constantly, over and over and over again, having it's like the same demon was haunting me. Till I was like, oh fuck, it's me. And I realized, oh fuck, it's me from being willing to try anything. It's like, I will do anything. It's like, I hate the feeling of throwing up. So I don't want to do things that would make me sick enough to throw up. So also no to ayahuasca. No gracias. I'll feel like this fucking butterfly. Or this torn wing one. I wonder if that deaf girl's still single. One of these, why did the screen get so dark? One of these astrology things, in the middle of this guy's chest it says serpent, and around here it says bearer, and he's holding a serpent. What sign is the serpent bearer? Dolphin? I don't know anything about astrology. Archer makes sense. Scorpion, yep. Lion, Virgin, Pegasus. I'm just saying words. I'm tired. Um, Thanks for listening to me. I'm still here for another full day, and I've already accomplished so much. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. What a gift. You know, Matthew means gift from God. So, obviously, that means if I'm in your life, I'm God's gift to you. There's no other explanation. Thank you. If you're watching this, I love you. Goodbye for now.